Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and today I am going to be doing an end of year book tag, but not the one that I have been doing for the past however many years. I think I've done it at least once. I found another one, which is kind of a reimagined version by a YouTuber called Destiny Sidwell. I'll link her video down below. Now I know that she probably isn't the first person to do this tag, and I know she probably won't be the last. I know Ariel Bissett did one many years ago, but I feel like this one kind of fits more of my end of year books and stuff that I want to talk about, seeing as in this countdown to Christmas, because happy countdown to Christmas by the way, I'm not actually doing a best or a worst, which I think kind of feels like sacrilege in the grand scheme of things. But the reasoning that I'm not doing a best and a worst is because, one, I haven't actually read as many books as I thought I would, so therefore I don't really feel like I've got a big pool of books to pull best and worst from. And two, when I did my Vida 2 content back in August, I talked about my favourite books so far then, and I've actually only had one more 5-star since that video went up. So if you want to see my favourites from there, I'll link it up here for you. The other 5-star I will talk about in this video, so be sure to stick around for that. But otherwise, let's just get straight into the questions. I have them here on my phone. Yes, I have got a Halloween cover on the back of my phone during Christmas. Why the heck not? So question number 1 is the most disappointing read of the year. And again, this is why I'm not doing another worst video, because I just don't want to sit there and talk about all the books that disappointed me. But the one I'm going to talk about now is this, which is Finale by Stephanie Garber. I was really disappointed that I didn't enjoy this as much as I enjoyed the first two. And I can't quite put my finger on why I didn't enjoy it as much. Maybe it's because I read the other two physically and I read this one audibly. I'm not too sure. But something about this story in the final book of this trilogy just didn't hit me the way the first two did. It might also be because there were quite a few years in between me reading the second book, which I think is Legendary, and then this one. And that could be it. But it fell flat for me, and it's very sad, and I can't really tell you a lot about the plot because obviously it's the third book in a trilogy and that will give away a lot of things. But just know that for me, this just didn't hit the way I thought it was going to. I am hoping to start Once Upon a Broken Heart this month, actually, as part of one of my buddy reads that I do with my friend. So maybe that will be better, but I don't know. This just, unfortunately, fell flat for me, and I hate saying that, but it did. So question 2 is Underdog Book of the Year, and for me, I'm gonna say this, which is Every Exquisite Thing by Laura Steven. I adored this. I'm pretty sure I did give it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I raved about it in my vlog. I raved about it in, I think, the favourites video. I'm not too sure when I read this. But I loved it, and the reason, as much as it's got a very pretty edition from the Locked Library, I feel like this is an underdog because I've only ever actually heard one other person talk about this. I could be completely wrong, but in the circles of which I run in, that is how it is. I've heard one person talk about this book, and I don't know why, because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the writing. I thought that was fantastic. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the different, almost play on the retelling. So this is essentially a Dorian Gray retelling, but not. In a sense, it takes aspects of Dorian Gray and twists them into this story, and we are following our main character Penny, who's the daughter of Peggy, and Peggy is a famous actress and Penny wants to follow in her footsteps. So she is enrolled into the elite Dorian Academy, which is a drama school for obviously very high performing actors or actresses or aspiring performers, as you should say. And one day her mentor offers her the opportunity to get her portrait painted, which leads to some strange goings on. I did really enjoy the mystery element within this book, but as always, every time I talk about this book, be sure to check out trigger warnings, please. There are many. And in the front of my copy they are listed, and they are listed as disordered eating, parental addiction, emotional abuse, animal death, body horror, disfigurement, violence, suicide threats and death. So just bear that in mind when you go into this. But personally, I feel like this is really underrated and an underdog so far this year. I could be wrong, I haven't actually checked the Goodreads on this, but I just haven't heard a lot of people talk about this. And it makes me sad because I really enjoyed it. Question number 3 is a book that was overhyped, and if you know me, you might already guess the answer of which I've got for that, and that is Fourth Wing. I don't get it, but it's okay if you do, because we're all different readers, we all love different things, and if you love that book, or if you love any of the books that I say in here that I don't like, or anywhere on my channel, then good for you, I'm happy for you, I'm glad you enjoyed them, they just didn't work for me. The main reason this one did not work for me was just, I don't know, the romance, or the way the romance was done, the smut, the way that was interlaced with other things, you know, just wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. Moved on, learnt from it. Haven't tried Iron Flame yet, but if I ever get Scribbed back, I probably will try it to see what I feel about the second book, because the thing that annoys me about Fourth Wing, and I'm going on a mini rant here, and I did this in my vlog as well when I read this book, but the thing that annoys me about Fourth Wing is that I really like the world. I love the world. I love the idea of the school that she joins and the different like classes or like separations of people. I thought that was so clever and I really enjoyed that, but the rest of it just impacted me negatively. And yeah, we're just going to leave that there. Otherwise, this whole video will just be a rant on Fourth Wing, and no one wants that. No one wants that. So the next question is a fave book couple of the year. I don't really read romance. I think I read one this year, and that was The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. So I'm going to say the couple in that. I have the book somewhere, but I don't know where it is to hold it up. So the couple in that book, because yeah, I don't really read romance. I think that works. That sounds good. We're going to go with that one. So prompt number 5 is favourite main character or characters of the year. My first one is going to be Esker out of Along the Razor's Edge by Rob J. Hayes. I read this book earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. I really like Esker and the way she's written. I think she's written really well, and I just like her as a character. She is, you know, locked in a prison at the very start of this book, and she is still determined to get out. She has not lost her spark. She is still very vicious if she wishes to be, and I really just love that kind of spark that she's got. And then another main character that I have to just mention is Kokochin in The Judas Blossom by Stephen Orion. So she starts off as a character for me that I do not like. She to me started off as a little bit weaker and just needy, and it frustrated me, and towards the end of the book she grows, she finds her feet, she is again more of a vicious person, and I love her for it. So those are 2 main characters that I've really liked this year, and that's saying something because usually for me I don't remember anyone. Once I've read a book, half the time it's out of my brain, which makes doing this really fun. Prompt 6 is a book that surprised you, and I'm going to hold up this one, which is The Justice of Kings, which I have just given 5 stars. This is my latest 5 stars, the only one that is not actually included in my favourites video that I linked earlier. And I say this book surprised me because I was expecting to enjoy it, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. So in this book, our main character is Helena, and she is a clerk to the justice in this world. And the justices are essentially a collection of people that are judge, jury and executioner. They will ride up to a town. They have routes that they take. It's like medieval-esque England where everyone still rides horses and there's no technology anywhere. So they have to ride from town to town, and they get a book of basically convictions or whatever given to them when they arrive, and they will sit at this town or place or whatever, and they will hear the problems and they will deal out justice. So we meet Helena and the Justice Von Volt and Bresinger, who are the group that travel predominantly together throughout this book, and we are given a mystery essentially, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. I did not expect to love this in the way that I loved this, and I think as much as this is a hyped book and people read it and a lot of people read it, again, I just don't feel like I hear a lot of people talking about it. Richard Swan is an incredible writer. Like, definitely check him out if you get the chance to, or if any of my babbling sounds like something that you would enjoy, because it's worth it. I loved it and I need more people to talk about it with. So Someone read it, please. The next one is a new favourite author that you've discovered in 2023, and for me that's going to be E.J. Dobell, who is an indie author. He has written a few books now, so I didn't buy his books for the first time this year. I believe I bought them last year, but this was the first year that I actually properly dived into his books. And this is the prequel novella in the Blood and Steel saga. He has also got one book in the start of a philosophical series. It's a really short book, but I believe there's more coming for that. And he's also got the start of a fairy tale dark retelling series as well already out, so he's worth checking out. There's plenty of things to kind of dip your toe into if you're not sure which way you want to go, but I will say no matter what I've read from this author, I've really enjoyed his writing style. I find it really enjoyable, and I just can't wait to dive into more. I think it's so cool. And if you want to see an interview that I hosted with EJ, I'll tag it up here for you. We did a readathon for the first 2 books in this series before this released, and it was just a really interesting conversation, so definitely go and check that out if you want to know more. The next prompt is happiest book of the year, and I don't read happy books, so I haven't got one, so we're going to move on from that. Then we've got most frustrating book you read in 2023, and again I'm gonna say Fourth Wing, because it frustrated me. It frustrated me with the fact that I enjoyed the world and I wanted to know more about the world and the actual story, but I kept getting given romance and strange smut and stuff that just doesn't interest me, so that is why that was frustrating for me. Then I've got best adaptation of the year, and I don't really do book to movie or book to TV show adaptations, but the one that I will mention here is the One Piece one. I'm sure many people who are watching my video might have already seen it, but it was on Netflix, and this is a manga adaptation. I have never read One Piece. I have never watched full episodes of One Piece, but my other half absolutely adores it, and he watches the anime, which has got like over 1,000 episodes and everything. So I've seen snippets of it, so I know what it is, but the live action was awesome. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was so much fun, and I actually want a second series, so that's going to be my adaptation as well, because why not? The longest book you've read this year. So the longest book I've read this year is actually this one, which is Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee, and this clocks in at 716 pages. So, you know, not exactly 1,000, but we're getting there. My plan next year is to read even chunkier books. I did read this whole series. This is the Illumicrate edition though. How pretty is this? I did read this whole series for the It's All About Fantasy read-along that me and Lisa host, which is linked down below, the Twitter. Check it out if you wish to, because you should. It's good fun. We're currently taking a break, but we will be back in the new year with a new set of books, and I'm very excited because we're conquering a Rob J. Hayes series. We're going to read the Dandelion Dynasty, which I'm so psyched for. So we've got a lot of cool stuff coming, so definitely join us in our journey for that. Then we've got the shortest book I've read so far this year, and that will be this one, which is 5 Silver Rings by Zach Argyle. This clocks in at 50 pages, I think. So yeah, really the shortest book that I have read. I really liked this. I thought it was a really good time. The premise is that I'm pretty sure it's a husband and wife come out of working in the forge that they work in one day, and this creature appears and basically kills her husband, and he leaves behind 5 silver rings, and she finds that when she walks back into the forge, she can drop them into this machine, and it shows 5 different memories that she has no recollection of. And I thought that was really interesting, and I really enjoyed the premise, and I enjoyed how much Zach managed to squeeze into 50 pages to make me feel something, because that's a difficult feat, but he managed it. Next, we've got a book you haven't stopped thinking about. I mean, I've only just finished it, but it's this one. Always will be this one. I'm still puzzling things out. And honestly, it has been... I can't even tell you how long it's been since I've immediately wanted to pick up a sequel. But when I finished this book, I wanted to immediately pick up the sequel and had to talk myself down from that ledge, because I'm trying to finish all the books that I started this year. And there are many. So I don't have time. And also, the 3rd book doesn't release until like February next year, so I need to pace myself, because I don't want to be rereading again next year. I would, but I have other plans. So Then I've got cringiest book you've read so far this year, and again, it's gonna be Fourth Wing. Sorry, not sorry, but it is. It just is. An unpopular book you loved. Now, I have checked my Goodreads, and of the books that I have read this year, this was the one that came up. So this has got an average rating of like 3.63 on Goodreads. I loved this. I thought this was so good. I'd never read anything from Olivia Blake. This is the book that made me pre-order other books from Olivia Blake. So I have got One for My Enemy, which I'm currently listening to audibly. I've got Masters of Death, which I'm currently reading physically. There were like 3 books that came out around the same time, and one of them I just did not buy because it was just purely romance, but I can't remember which one that was. But that one, I didn't order that one. But I really enjoyed this. In this world, 6 of the best magicians are picked to join this academy where they will learn more about magic, and they basically can learn anything they want, but by the end of the first year they will lose a member. And we are following all 6 different perspectives within this book. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the different perspectives. There was obviously ones that I didn't enjoy as much, but that always happens. And then you speed through them and you read the ones that you do like. And then you find out all the tea that way. So I really, really enjoyed that one. But apparently that's my lowest rated. So that's fun. Next up, we have got the highest and lowest rated books you read this year on Goodreads. Do you agree? So that was the lowest for me. No, I don't agree. And then the highest, gonna have to do some scrolling because I don't know. That's not the highest. Yeah, I agree. Apparently, of all the ones that I read, the one that comes out on top, apparently, is The City of Brass, which is book 1, and this on average has got a 4.15 average rating with over 110,000 ratings. So I rated this 4 stars, I believe. Yes, I did. And yeah, I would agree that that is a pretty good book. I don't agree that it should be the highest rated. I mean, none of the Jade series were there. Justice wasn't there. So I'm not sure I completely agree, no, if I'm honest. But it is what it is. Next prompt is fave quotes. I don't keep track of quotes, and I'm not really a quotey person, so we're just going to skip over that one. So the next prompt is book with the most unique concept. I'm still going to talk about this one. So for me, the reason that this is unique is because I quite like the fact that we are reading from an older woman's perspective. She is reflecting back on her time when she was younger, and the magic system in this isn't massively magic. It is magic, but it's magic that's taught to the justices as they go through their training, but normal people aren't meant to be able to withstand what they can do. But then in this book they meet some people who can, because they've been given the secret information. I don't know, I just thought it was really nice to read from like an older lady's perspective, and to have like a female character at the forefront as well of a book that is obviously predominantly just men. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was good. So we're gonna do that. Then I've got book that you would reread. So many of these actually, and many of the books that I would read. So I would reread Judas Blossom. I would love to read the Jade or the Greenbone Saga, I should say. I'd love to reread that whole series again physically rather than audibly, and see if there was things I missed, because I probably did. I would reread Justice of Kings if I had to wait a long time between the books. So quite a few. I'm not really a big rereader though, but I can. So Question 21 is reading goal reflection and 2024 reading goal. So my goal for this year was 100 books, and currently as I'm filming this I am on 60, so I am 40 books behind schedule. I will not be hitting 100 books, and I've made my peace with that. I did set the task of 100 books, or the goal of 100 books I should say, right at the start of the year, to be as aspirational as possible. My highest reading that I've ever done that I am aware of is back in 2020 when I read, I think it was 75 books, maybe 21 I did 76, not sure, but I was up there. That is the closest I've ever been to 100 books, and that is because the pandemic happened. I was getting up early every day, well not early, but I was waking up when I woke up every day. I was sitting on my couch every morning reading something until lunchtime, when I would wake my other half up for lunch because he was on a night owl routine during COVID and I was on the early bird routine during COVID because we had nothing to kind of keep us scheduled at that point. And I obviously dedicated a lot of time to reading, and I obviously now have gone back to work, full-time work. I travel for work. I am easily distracted, and there is so much content and stuff to consume that I just obviously haven't dedicated the time I should have to reading, which is fine because sometimes that just happens. But on reflection, I think setting the goal for 100 books was good. I really enjoyed like having that kind of goal, and as much as every month you kind of get the, oh, you're suddenly this many books behind schedule now, I didn't find that stressful at all. So with that in mind, in 2024 I will be setting my goal for 100 books. I still will be. My goal now is 70 books because last year I read 68, so I want to try and beat that again. I want to try and build my books, reading back up again. I want to try and get my library down to 50% read. I don't know if I ever will. I would love to. I like having choice though. I like having books here that I know I haven't read, but sometimes it can be overwhelming when you're trying to think of something you want to read. But it's also very helpful when you do stuff like readathons and they give you the most random prompts and you're like, oh, I actually have a book that fits that. So, you know, it all works in my favour, but I will still be setting my goal at 100 books. I am definite about that. I can't wait for Goodreads to refresh so I can do that because that is the aim. And then the final prompt is, after 2023 reading, what are you prioritising in 2024 reading wise? So overall, I'm prioritising finishing series. I want to do that. I said I was going to finish 8 series. I've finished 5 so far. I don't think I will get much closer to that number. So I would love to keep crossing off series. I will say the best thing that I've done this year is be part of the It's All About Fantasy read along that me and Lisa host, because we pick series and we read them. We DNF them if we're not enjoying them, but we actually sit down and every month we read a book from the series. Now, have I actually finished every single book in time? No. Is that because I'm a terrible human being? Quite possibly, yes. But also because I'm easily distracted. And I also underestimate how long it will take me to read some things sometimes. So I think carrying that on and reading the series that we're planning to read, I'll be so happy by the end of next year with them, because they're series, especially the Dandelion Dynasty, that I've had on my radar for absolutely ages. I have the full version of the Broken Binding ones on my shelf, literally just above here. You just can't see them. And I am so excited to actually read them because they've been on my shelf for ages. So finishing series will be a priority. There are at least 2 or 3 series I can think of off the top of my head that are finishing next year, so I will be ready to complete them. And yeah, that's literally it, and those are all of the prompts. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give it a like, really supports me and my channel. Leave me a comment down below of your favourite book that you have read in 2023 and what is something that you are looking forward to reading in 2024. If you just want to leave me an emoji, leave me any firework emojis ready for the new year. And if you want to see more of me, please consider subscribing down below and ringing that notification bell to get notified every single time I upload new videos. I'm uploading now every day until Christmas Eve, so be sure to come back tomorrow for a brand new video. They are encompassing a whole range of fun things that I am talking about, obviously this and gorgeous books and all sorts of other things, so be sure to come back tomorrow to see what is coming next. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye.